Well, hello.
Well, hello to you too. It's not very often we get to talk on a weekday.
I know. I know on a Monday at that. This is rare, but I guess it's actually the holiday. No one's working since July 4th was yesterday, so happy holiday.
Yes. Well, yeah, and usually Mondays are our this is family time for us. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So I am really excited about our stream today because I think that this story is crazy that we're going to talk about.
oh, I agree 100%. And I've been super interested in this story ever since I think like the news broke, maybe was it 2017, 2018 when all this started coming out. I loved Smallville. Like I can't even begin to tell you how much I loved Smallville. I've seen it all.
Hello. Yes, I love Smallville too. Hi, Snoop. How are you? Hi, Nikki. How are you? How do we? How do you make moderators? Do you know how?
Um,
Nikki, we're live. We are live. We planned this. We know that there is another giant live going on, and we had already planned this before that happened. So we're here to talk about what we love to talk about and not the craziness. So we're glad that you're here to join us.
yeah, we're super excited that you're here to join us. And hopefully that you are also interested in the story that is NXIVM.
Yes. And listen, it might just be us, but hey, I'm cool with that.
Right?
Because
Like, let's stay over here away from all the chatter that's going on elsewhere.
hi, Christy. Hi, Tessie. How are you, Tessie? I need to know, do you have tickets yet? Do you have tickets yet? Are you on tour yet?
So, we found a clip earlier that neither of us had seen prior, even though we had been interested in this story, where they actually are discussing probably the most bizarre part of the entire thing to me.
Yes. So, okay. So if you guys don't know what we're talking about today, we are talking about NXIVM, which is the cult that was run by Keith Raniere and Allison Mack from Smallville. And we can talk about a little bit of the details. But Stacy ran across um, an audio clip today, and Stacy's gonna. Are you gonna play it?
I am, yeah. Hey,
This
selfie queen.
Hey, selfie queen, Cindy. Okay, so NXIVM. Okay, Snoop Medic. You don't even know what's going on. It's okay, babe. You're on those good meds, right? You're on the good today. Still feeling better, I hope. But we're talking about the cult that is no longer. They have been sentenced. Allison Mack was just sentenced. And we're going to go over her sentence a little bit. We're going to talk about what she pleaded guilty to. And we're going to talk a little bit about like what these crazy people were doing. But um, first, Stacy's going to play this audio clip for you guys. And I'll just give you a little bit of a background on it. This cult was branding people. Like, you know how you brand a cow? They were branding people. And we're going to show you pictures of the brand too, I think. And this is an audio clip of what they were deciding to do. So take it away, Stacy.
Yeah, and this was I had thought I'd seen just about everything that you could see on this, but turns out I had missed this clip.
Keith and Allison, what's the date? The 10th. No, the 9th. January 9th, 6:59 a.m. talking about branding on a wall.
And I'm sorry that the audio is really messed up. It to me, it feels like they're walking, and maybe she's got a recording device in her pocket.
Yes. And then if I could just cut in here for a second, if you notice the brand, if you look at it from this angle, it looks like an A, a large A, and it looks like it has like a line across the top of the A. And then inside the A, it looks like there's an M, and that would stand for Allison Mack.
And if you turn your head to the right,
Yep.
You'll notice that looks like a giant K.
Yep. And then a smaller R.
For Keith Raniere, because these people were narcissists.
So the brand was their initials. Insane.
So, I think doing the actual brand in an orderly fashion, each of the 7 strokes having a certain ritualization, maybe each of the strokes has something that's said with them and maybe repeated.
Now, I know we have to pause this every so often anyways, just so that we can share this video with you guys. But did you hear him say, like, maybe we could even, like, several strokes, maybe we can even repeat it?
Yeah, I mean, they're actually going over like what the ritual of branding these women is going to be. That's the discussion that's being had here. Gross.
After the stroke is done.
So like that somebody says the thing while the stroke is being done, and then the person that's getting it done repeats it afterwards?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, you guys come up with something and propose it to me.
Okay.
Well, because you've done it. So what would have been most meaningful, deep, surrendering, focusing for you?
I think it probably having it whispered in my ear and then me repeating it out loud. And then having it whispered in my ear and then me repeating it out loud.
Well, ask the others. It's not all you.
Oh, I thought you were asking me.
No, I said all of you guys who've gone through it.
Yes. Okay.
So
Okay.
part of me thinks that maybe she started out as a victim, but quickly took on the role of villain in this story.
She did, and that's the thing. So that's kind of what like I wanted to talk to the group about today was, is she a victim? Or is she, and maybe she did start as a victim and ended up as part of it, because she ended up entering a guilty plea. And she was one of the leaders of the cult, but Keith was the actual leader of the cult. And then she was one of the masters. So there were like 6 or 7 women that were considered masters. They were considered the DOS, and they were the ones that were being branded, right?
Yes, and she wanted to be in control of the DOS group. And I think they kind of ran it like an MLM, where like each member had to recruit another member.
That's right. So it was a master slave type environment, and it was a sex trafficking environment with women. They had to be a certain size. They had to be very small women. They were trafficked. They were required to have sex with Keith, and there was a lot of recruiting into the cult. Yes, she had a downline.
And yes, she did get 3 years for her guilty plea.
Yeah, I saw Nikki ask what was her sentence. So her sentence was 3 years in prison. She has already been on house arrest for 3 years. And then she will also have 3 years of supervised custody when she's released from prison. So I guess that's going to be like parole. I don't know. And she has a $20,000 cash fine that she has to pay. So, and interestingly enough, because her charges were racketeering and what was the other one? Racketeering conspiracy. Um, and the charges for that are supposed to be like 14 to 20 years, but she only got the 3, and then she got the 3 before and the 3 after. Um, and that's because she helped them bring so much evidence against Keith, because Keith got 120 years when he was sentenced. Yeah, she did get lucky for sure.
Did he get 120 years or 120 months?
Was
Because
it 120
I
months?
read 120 months earlier, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? That's only 10 years."
Did I get that wrong, guys? If it was 120 months and not 120 years, I need to go visit a courtroom. Hang on. We have to
No,
Google
okay, it
something.
does say 120 years. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, earlier I saw 120 months, and I was like, "Isn't that like 10 years?"
Yeah. No, it was my understanding he was not getting out of prison because his charges were not just racketeering. He also had the sex trafficking charges.
And then the Singram's heiress is involved in this.
Yeah, who is that? Is that the Salzman woman?
No, I think the Salzman woman is like she's different.
Yeah, so like the Doss women were the masters.
That's
And
Claire Bronfman, who is the Singram's heiress.
oh, okay. It does sound like they both got off pretty light. I agree because of what they did. Like they made propaganda videos that where they talked about bringing, like, seeing the light and bringing people in, and Allison Mack cries on these videos about how wonderful life has been since she found Keith and he's shown her how to live her life, and it's so crazy. Hey, Charlotte. And
Hey, Charlotte.
I can't believe that. First of all, I don't know how people get sucked into this, and no judgment. But like, I just feel like I would be side-eyeing anything like this to begin with. But
It almost feels to me like she has been seeking someone's approval her whole life, and he was the first one to show her that. And so she just like dove head in.
yeah, but I don't know. I mean, it does feel that way, but she was already a well established actress. Like Smallville was a great TV show. I mean, how many seasons was Smallville?
Oh, goodness.
9?
Yeah, because they were supposed to be canceled like so many times, and their little fandom for Smallville was almost as bad as the one for Supernatural when it came to talks of cancellation and stuff, you know?
Yeah, I know. Hey, Julie Virgo. Hello, legend. Um, yeah, so okay. So my best friend was such a huge Smallville fan that he wouldn't go anywhere if Smallville was on. He would be like, "I'll catch you guys later." If we were going out, and like, he would try to record it. He had all the episodes recorded on, yes, VHS. Yes, I said it. Don't come at me, but it was that long ago. And I mean, Smallville was a huge hit. And I remember there was just nothing on TV at that time that was anything like it. Like it was kind of a new thing. It was innovative. So I loved Smallville, and I think it had a following much like Buffy. Um, I
And
know you
I
love.
was in both of those followings.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's interesting to me. Like she's this actress, and that also played a part in this because she's a big name. Like she's an actress in Hollywood. She's on Smallville. And here she is recruiting people into this. She's not going to call it a cult. She's going to call it um, a lifestyle opportunity, whatever, that's going to make your life better, that's going to change the way you think. And it wasn't a religion either. It was more of um, like a way that you organize your life and think about your life, and it just it was just crap. It was just BS, you know?
Well, and part of me, I think that he was selling these people ego. Like, that's what I feel like. He was selling these people who needed a little bit of ego. He was selling them ego. Because a lot of them, you did have a few that were already, even though they were established, a lot of them were actors and actresses, which you hear from a lot of people who do that for a living, that they have very fragile egos.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, she was very young at the time. So,
And she tried to bring in her other little supernatural star, or supernatural Smallville star, with her. And she went to a couple meetings.
yes. And some of the people were like, wait, what? There's some clips too where he's asking members of, not of DOS, but of NXIVM. Yeah, it was presented as a self-help group. He's asking people of NXIVM, like, how would you feel about a brand? And they're like, like, you want to brand me like a cow? Like, hell no. So, a lot of people were like, no, that's not gonna fly. Um, but for this upper echelon of the group, DOS, these people were, I mean, he had his claws sunk in deep like a tick. So it was
Well, and
interesting.
they slowly built you up to that level too by making you give them more and more stuff to hold against you if you said no.
Right. And that's how cults work. Hey, Sharmare. Um, so cults work in that way. It's not an immediate, you're in and you're never leaving. It's a very slow progression that you don't see coming until you are dug in like a tick and it's hard to leave. Um, and they slowly work you to the top of things. And that's how people always describe it. Like next thing you know, you think everything's wonderful, and the next thing you know, you're living this life that you did not realize that you were living. So I understand how people get roped into stuff like that, but there's a point in time where a lot of people would run in the other direction. And the master slave thing to me seems like one of those places where I would be like, nope, running in the other
Oh,
direction, you know?
no, like they were having to like, Master, may I have lunch today?
Yes.
Like, you can nope all the way off with that. There's no way I would message anybody in my life and be like, hey, is it cool if I eat?
Yeah. So Snoop said kind of like Scientology with the self-help. I would say yes, kind of like Scientology in the racketeering part of it, because it was like you come into it, you pay for things, um, and it's self-help in that you're supposed to be enlightened and your life will be better in that kind of way, and your confidence will be boosted, whatever. But different in the fact that in this group, almost immediately you are connected to another person, a master, and you are considered a slave. And you have to call, like, people would have to call Allison Mack her slaves, and every morning when they woke up, and they would have to call her immediately. And before they went to bed at night, they would have to call her before they went to bed, and send her text messages throughout the day. And like Stacy just said, like, can I eat now? And things like that. And always refer to her as master. And then there was the sex trafficking part of it. Like, this was a whole different level. Scientology has been able to stay alive because they do things differently and at a larger scale. But this one was basically Keith Raniere trying to build his own harem, I would say.
And he was getting like, they had expanded to some offices in Canada, and he was building quite a little empire.
He was, and he was traveling all over. And
but he'd also tried doing MLMs in the past, and it failed.
Yeah. Well, don't they all?
Well, he was going to be the top of the pyramid, but I think his was actually a pyramid scheme.
It's like, is there a fine line between MLM and cult? Aren't they all just the same thing?
I don't think it's a fine line at all. I think it's a completely blurred line that is absolutely there now.
Right. The
line. You listen a little bit more of this.
And they're stepping over, and they're constantly like locking arms at this point. Yeah, I think so. Crazy. So yeah, so for those of you who just joined us, we were actually playing a clip of Allison Mack, who was just sentenced in her racketeering charges for her part in the NXIVM cult situation, and Keith Raniere talking about how they were going to brand women. So, and then we got off on our little tangent because Stacy and I do that.
Yes. And I also want to point out, since it paused here on her little outfit here, this is totally something that they have you do when you're in trouble. If you'll notice, she now has bangs, and she's softened her hair color to her natural color. It makes her look so much more innocent and kind and young before she goes before the mean old judge.
Oh, yeah.
And you'll notice it a lot in these high profile cases.
Yep. Casey Anthony. That was a big one.
The other thing is, you guys did it and you weren't completely nude because you had a outsider and a guy doing it, whoever. Do you think the person who's being branded should be completely nude and sort of held to the table like a sort of almost like a sacrifice? I don't know if that's a feeling of submission, you know? So it also, of course, videoing it from different angles or whatever gives collateral.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's that collateral word that you hear a lot when they're discussing what went on with the NXIVM group and the Vanguard and all that.
Yeah. Well, the submission part, that plays into the master slave thing. But he's definitely trying to talk through in his brain right now how he can justify this brand to these women and then get them to not talk about it.
And to not sound like a weirdo when he's asking for it. And he's like, and we should film it. I mean, for collateral's sake, not for my own pleasure. We should just film it for collateral's sake.
Right. Ugh, gross.
So
Major gross.
probably should be a more vulnerable position type of a thing. Back, legs slightly spread, legs spread straight, like feet being held to the side of the table, hands probably above the head being held, almost like tied down, like a sacrificial whatever. And the person should ask to be branded.
Okay.
Should say, please brand me, it would be an honor, or something like that. And an honor I want to wear for the rest of my life. I don't know.
Okay.
So they should also have to beg for it, Kim.
Well, yeah, because then it's not physical, like it's consent because they're asking for it, you know.
Selfie Queen Sydney, not only was she okay with this, she put her initials on there too.
Yeah, so the brand is the initials of Keith and Allison, depending on which way you turn the brand. So we'll eventually go back and show those pictures again.
And they should probably say that before they're held down, so it doesn't seem like they're being coerced.
Okay.
I don't know. Those are just thoughts.
Okay.
And she's just like, okay.
Yep. So here's the picture of the K and the R for Keith Raniere. I don't know if it's Raniere or Raniere. I've heard it both ways. Either way.
I don't care enough to find out how to say his name because F him.
Right. And then here's the picture where I just turned it. And it's AM for Allison Mack. Gross. She does sound submissive in that like that's why Stacy and I have talked about this and said, okay, was she a victim that turned into a
villain?
A villain, right? But I don't know.
But Keith Raniere is just a self-proclaimed genius.
Yeah,
Like, he wasn't in the TV industry or anything like that. He just decided one day he was smarter than everyone else in the room, and he shouldn't have to work hard to show, to be successful.
Yeah, he was just a guy that he thought he was super intelligent. Like, you hear him talk about himself, it's so gross to hear him talk about himself because he's just like, I figured it out. I know all of these things about life. And if you just listen to me, you'd just be so much happier. Like,
and he makes everyone play volleyball because he loves volleyball so much.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Some of the stuff you hear is just so weird. You're like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with playing volleyball, but why are you making everyone join in on your sport? Like, it gets weird when you start hearing, the little parts with it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's this one, the reason I am so intrigued by this particular cult was because, first of all, it wasn't one of the like larger cults that got attention, but it was so strange. Like it just was, it was there and then it was gone really quickly. And
what I thought was the most intriguing about this one for me is that it wasn't based around any kind of religion that's been, twisted to fit the narrative they needed to. Like, a lot of times, like, what was that story with the lady with the Christmas lights that was just found? And
Mother God. Yeah.
Yeah. That stuff will be like they took something from religion and they twisted it and all these people joined in and they that wasn't part of NXIVM. And to me, that was the weirdest part, is they got this kind of following, and they didn't try to convince someone that it was religious in any way. Are you still there, Kim?
Claim for religion, and typically leaders of cults think that they are some form of God or deity or second coming in some way. And Keith Raniere didn't think that. He just thought he was like the most intelligent guy ever. Like, I never heard anything, and correct me if I'm wrong, Stacy, but I never heard anything of him saying that he was like a god or a superhuman or anything like that.
I never heard that at all. Only that he knew the way to happiness and he could help you find it.
Yeah. It was self-gratification, yes, for him and for him alone. It was all about sex. It was all about sex for him. There was nothing else. And because, I mean, all of his recruits were women, and the branding, so he treated them like property. And then he had other women treating women like property. So, like I said, there was the upper echelon of women, the DOS, which I think there were 7 or 8 of them. And thank you, Snoop, for putting that in the chat. And those women were the masters, and then there were the slaves that were recruited in, and it was just nuts. So weird, huh?
Well, and I did watch some of The Vow. I know someone mentioned that earlier. I think it was Christy. And I did watch it. And the thing to me that was, from the perspective of the people who weren't famous when they joined in, they would go to like the first meeting, and it would be real uplifting, you know, like any kind of self-help guru type meeting you go to, everyone's going to be super upbeat. But they had like sashes they wore because this was their level. And she even mentions how it's like, that makes you want to run away. Like, oh, this is kind of like culty.
Right.
But she didn't. That's what was so funny to me. I'm like, but you saw it and you kept coming back.
Right.
So what are you guys looking for? What were you looking for that you found there, that these red flags were going off immediately? And you were like, let's give it 8 more chances.
Yeah. So that's the thing, is I've seen that in several different cults, where people who are not born into it, who are recruited in, have said that, like in the Netflix documentary, the Wild West documentary about the cult that was up in Oregon. There, it was said in that documentary that like they were like, this is odd. People go into a room and they all get naked and dance around with each other. They're like, but it was super awesome and I felt great being there, so I stayed. And I don't know if it's because people in general want to feel loved, they want to feel a sense of belonging. And a lot of times these groups make you feel welcomed, and they make you feel a sense of belonging, and they bring you in, and then you just don't have, like, a lot of these people are searching and they don't have a place to go. So that's why they stay. And that's why they fall into these traps. But I don't get this one. Like, this one was weird. They weren't living in a commune.
No, they weren't living in a commune at all, but they were taking orders on which area they needed to live in to help bring in more recruitment numbers. And like, it is so bizarre. So bizarre.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And
PJ, it's good to see you, especially you.
Especially PJ. I'm going to say that every time I see you. Yeah, so in this one, yes, it did last for 20 years. But like that 20 years came and went like a flash because like you didn't know NXIVM was happening for a good bit of that 20 years. So the recruits, that it was pretty small for a while, and then once he did start to like branch out and there was that group in Canada, um and when he was making his propaganda, he put a considerable amount of money into that. um
Well,
that
the Seagram's heiress is still refusing to denounce anything to do with NXIVM. Like, she still stands by it, even as she's serving her, like, 3 years or whatever she got. Like, I don't get it. I just don't. What was the downfall? The downfall was some members that had left had found one person in the media that would work with them, and the rest of them were all members that had left, and they kept trying to take down NXIVM. They kept trying to show people, this is what they're doing, this is what they're doing. And it wasn't, I don't believe, until the story of the branding really got out that people were like, wait, what now?
Right. Yeah. It was like late in the game when he started branding people. That wasn't, because it escalated. So for a good bit of the existence of NXIVM, he wasn't branding people, and DOS didn't exist. But
and they were able to prove some fraud, like tax fraud, on a couple people from all these years of investigation. So once they started saying, hey, Taxman is here to talk to you, these people are like, wait, we know some stuff.
Right. Well, ultimately, that's what they ended up being charged with and pleading guilty to, was the racketeering. So, and that's typically what happens. So in these types of cases, I mean, you hear about this in like mob cases. They typically take them down with racketeering charges, and it's all tax, because you can't, it's easier to prove than proving all of the other things. So that's what they get them on. And that's what they did here. So I think DOS came about pretty late in the game, like 2010-ish. And then like once they started talking about the branding he wasn't talking about that until what, 2018?
Yes.
Yeah. So it was like the end whenever they started branding people, and that's whenever these women started running for the hills.
And still that they were able to brand as many as they were. Like, I'm going to tell you, Kim, I love you so much, but if you walk me into a room and you're like, so I thought first we would get these branding done, I would be like, well, you have fun doing that.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to the hotel.
Look, no one will ever brand me. That's for sure. Like, you might convince me to get a tattoo, but brand me with, and it wasn't like how you brand a cow. They didn't have an iron made with it where they were putting it on a hot, like heating it up and then sticking it to you one time. They were using a cauterizing pen, and they were literally carving it into their skin over and over and over again. So it was pretty painful and disgusting. And I mean, like, I can't imagine that level of abuse and sadistic behavior, that a person could actually sit there and do that to another human being while they're writhing in pain, and then other people stand in the room and watch it happen and be okay with it.
Some were helping hold them down. Like, I also couldn't do that. I would be like, no, I'm not helping you with any of this. This is all dumb ideas, and I hope you all get in trouble, as I walked out the door.
Yeah. So, like, I would be on the phone with 911.
Yes, officer, over here.
This reminds me of that TikTok where the guy's in the back seat, and that guy, like, I'm sorry, it's a horrible TikTok, but the guy hits the girl in the passenger seat, and the guy in the back seat is like, oh, you're going to jail. Like, he's like, he starts to get out of the car, and he's like, you're going to jail. And And this TikTok has gone viral. And the guy's like, no, wait. Nope, that would be me. That would be me. I would be like, nope, we're calling 911 right this second. Nope, you can hold me down. You can do whatever you want, but it's already been called. No, we are not doing this today. Like, it just wouldn't happen with me. So I don't get how so many people could be complicit in it, but I've also never been in that situation, so I've never. Yes.
And Tessie, yes, it's
No.
Catherine Oxenberg. She was a actress on Dynasty. She helped get her daughter out, so like she's in the vow a lot, and she's been talking for years about NXIVM herself.
Yep. And then Tessie also said the smell of burnt flesh.
Oh.
It's disgusting. Yes. So again, I could not be in that room. And I know there's some pretty triggering stuff to talk about, but you guys got to know, like, this is why cults are scary. And these are not.
And you have to think about what they went through before they got to the point that they decided to take them to this room for the branding. Like what kind of evidence they gave on themselves and what they were willing to do, that they thought they were trustworthy enough to get their skin cauterized.
Well, didn't he ask for collateral from them?
Yes. And it was like more and more, like every month or something, they had to give something else, and they had to make sure that they were listening to their masters.
It was like deeds to their houses, but as collateral.
Yes.
They were giving over a lot of stuff. They were like paying in to be
pictures you wouldn't want your mother seeing.
Yes. So they would say, well, what else? So there was a lot of in the testimony that was given, there was a lot of talk about what else can you give me to prove that you are loyal to the group, to prove that you're not going to leave and go tell on us, to prove that you truly believe in what we're doing. That's the kind of language that they used. And then they would say, well, what about nude pictures? What about the deed to your home? What about your car? I mean, it was just nuts, the stuff that they were able to get these women to hand over.
And a lot of the women too were married with families, and like their husbands had no idea this was going. Some of them, their husbands didn't even know they had been branded. I don't know how you keep that hidden, especially where the brand was at.
Well, yeah, because it was on. So all the women were branded on their hip, on their pelvic area. So it's a place that would be very bony, first of all. And the brand wasn't big, but nonetheless, who cares? Like, it's still a brand. But it's something that I don't know how you could hide that. I don't know. And it would hurt for days. Like, you would have to treat that for days. How did they hide that?
That's what I'd heard too, Tessie. They were forced to make false statements, like that their husbands were abusive or their parents had hurt them as children, like all kinds of insane stuff and they had it all on tape. And so it's like, if you leave, we'll release these tapes on you.
Yeah.
That's blackmail. That person is not teaching you how to be happy. I'm sorry. You were definitely sold a lie.
Yeah, absolutely. Crazy stuff. So, I don't know. I again don't understand how this cult was able to survive 20 years. And for a cult, that's a really short period of time. But I still don't get it, because this one was like one of the messiest cults that wasn't founded on anything and had no real purpose. Like, it just didn't make any sense to me. So again, this is why this one blows my mind. and why I'm so interested in it, because it doesn't fit the mold of
Well,
what.
and it followed a lot of the MLM structure too, because some of your rewards would be you get to grow on the cruise ship that we've booked for all of the members, and you
Mhm.
get to listen to all the higher up talk while you're there.
Yeah, you get to listen to Allison Mack cry about how great her life is now because she listened to Keith and what Keith told her to do, and now life is great. Tessie, tell Big Papa we said hello.
I swear, my favorite part of the day is when Big Papa shows up in Charlotte's chats and says hi, and Charlotte's like, "Hi, Big Papa." It cracks me up every time.
Yeah, there's some names that I just like to hear Charlotte say that are funny.
Me too, but that is definitely one of them.
Definitely.
So is there anything else you wanted to? Is there anything in the chat you guys want to talk about with NXIVM? Kim and I are kind of like, we'll go off on tangents about wardrobe changes if you don't stop us.
We sure will. I mean, I think we covered all the points that I had about NXIVM, and we could just like ramble on forever about it. So, and we appreciate you guys being here today with us. And this was kind of like a last minute stream too, midday.
Midday stream. Thought we would discuss some depressing stuff before we go back to work tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, you know how we like the culty stuff.
Well, it's because it's so interesting. I have to understand. I have been friends with people that didn't deserve my time. I've never worshipped people that didn't deserve my time. I don't understand that.
I know. Again, like I think that's why we love the culty stuff, because both you and I are like, but why? Like we just keep asking ourselves, why? I didn't know they didn't live all in one place. It seems it would be harder to control with everyone in their own home. Yeah, I think that's why he did that master slave thing.
Yeah, they would tell on each other. Like,
Mhm.
they wanted to be his favorite so much that, like, I would be calling Keith right now, like, hey, Kim is doing a stream where she's talking about you, and she might need to get in trouble. And by get in trouble, they might send you away from your home and send you to, like, no, we need you to go out here and live. A lot, kind of like what some of the rumors of the FLDS will do.
Yeah, when they separate you and what for some reason I can't think of what they call it, where they send you to live by yourself. Repentance, I guess, and that you're completely cut off from your family. So, and it could be for you don't know how long. It could be for a year, it could be for 5 years. They just move
And a
you.
lot of these people were saying that they were pretty much working like 20 hours a day. So again, he wasn't selling you happiness. If you were buying happiness, you were at the very base level still, just giving your money freely and laughing about it. Because the ones actually doing the work for him, there's no way you feel happiness and fulfillment doing 20 hours of work a day and not seeing your family, never having downtime on your own. That's not happiness.
Yeah, I just don't understand, like, and this is with MLMs too. How do you, like, I guess I'm an instant gratification girl, because how do you put that much effort into something and not see a return on investment and keep doing it? You know? Like, how do you stay in that?
And I know a lot of people that will join up just so they can get a discount on the stuff they're already buying for themselves, and they'll never try to sell not one thing to somebody, which is fine if you do that. But the ones that really think that they're going to be retiring in 5 years are usually the ones that did not have the extra $100 to buy the starter kit. And that's where it really gets you, because you'll even see where they'll be telling them, "I'll put it on a credit card. It's the best investment in your future you'll ever make." When the financial reports will tell us, in my best Maury voice, the lie detector test determined that was a lie.
Right. Right. And that's why it's so dangerous, because for some people it's not a big deal, but for others it's life altering in a bad way. Um, they would I don't know how many families were ultimately broken up. But they would just say, "Hey, I have to leave for work." Like, I've got to go do work in this city because here's where we're going to recruit people, or here's where all of the money is. So they would go rent apartments in another city. And, I work in a different city from where I live. So, and I live in a hotel 3 to 4 days a week. So people didn't really bat an eye at stuff like that. And it's strange. It seems strange from the outside looking in, but like, as bizarre as it is, when you're in it, I guess they just kind of accepted it because they were looking at it from the lens of, this is my situation and this is how we're making money.
Well, and a lot of these people were meeting their spouses inside the same, NXIVM verse. So the thought of leaving is also like, well, is my husband or wife or whatever going to come with me? Because they
Right.
really they made your whole life part of NXIVM.
Yep, absolutely. So it's
I
just,
never have to worry about that with Preston. If I decide I'm not going to Walmart ever again, Preston will stand by me on that and start shopping at the Kroger. That's not the same thing for them,
yeah, true. And if I ever said, like, "Hey, I have this great opportunity to sell something and it's going to be super awesome for our family," my husband would be like, "What is wrong with you?" And he would be like, "No, Kim, you need to go to your regular ass job and do your regular work and stop whatever it is that you think is happening right now. Wake up." He would not be happy, and he would not let me fall into a trap like that.
No, mine wouldn't. Mine wouldn't either. He'd be like, "First of all, Stacy, nobody's gonna watch you for makeup tips. I don't care if you printed off a little certificate that says you're a ULOG person now. You still don't know anything, and you're not gonna show anyone." Like, the stuff that they convince people, it breaks my heart to see.
Yeah, no. Yeah, Chris would be like, "You are not a boss, babe. Go to work."
Oh my gosh, if I even tried to bring in something that said Boss Babe on it, Preston would probably just look at me like I had lost my damn mind. So, but hey, hun, I've got a great opportunity for you if you guys want to contact me after the stream. Because that's how they always start like every conversation with us is, "Hey, hun."
Oh gosh, I know. Like every girl you went to high school with. Hey, that's a good question, Snoop. I don't know. I heard she was kind of,
In the 1%.
yeah, like she was actually successful at her MLM.
And some of them are.
Yeah. Yeah. And so in order to you've got to be a stay-at-home mom, because it's not like you make a couple of social media posts and you're done for the day and then you're off, having like these grand vacations with your kids and, like being a Pinterest mom. It's not like that at all. Like, they work, and it is networking and reaching out, and they're probably sending hundreds of messages a day to people, and they're on their phones all day long. They're not with their kids. Like, you cannot work a full-time job and do that kind of thing. So she probably was really busy all the time.
Well, and
But
you also have to be you have to make cameos on your downlines post and videos too, because you want them to sell, because if they sell, you make money, but also you want them to recruit, because if they recruit, you recruited.
Well, right. That's the point, right? Like anyone who reaches out to you about MLMs, it's not that they don't want you to buy their stuff. They want you to become something. They want you to become part of the group and then start recruiting other people, because that's how they make their money. They're not making their money off of you buying their pink drink one time.
No, and also while we're on the subject of the pink drink, it's not curing anything. Take your thyroid medicine.
So let me tell you something about that stuff while we're on the topic of that. Sorry if you guys can hear my door slamming in the background. My family is all here because it's a holiday and it's summer and the dog's in and out. So she had tons of product in the basement and it's not cheap. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I didn't know that. And I haven't really looked into that case because of the child situation. So to be fair, like I can't really speak a whole lot on that because that case just hurts my heart so much. But anyway, what I was saying about that pink drink is I had someone reach out to me that I really love, who she sells it, and she was like, "Hey, you should try this. It's great." And I said, well, "Okay, what are the ingredients?" And I looked at it, and the ingredients are horrible for people who have diabetes and people who have thyroid problems. And it's sold as something that's good for people who have diabetes and thyroid problems. And it is, in fact, completely like I took it to my doctor, and my doctor was like, "Do not take that at all." So if that tells you anything, never listen to that crap. Like it's not good for you at all.
And let's be honest, if there was a miracle cure for everything that was wrong with us out there, we would all be walking around looking like the healthiest supermodels that you'd ever seen. Because we would be sparing no expense.
Yeah. No, yeah, I'd go broke if there is a miracle cure. And Nikki, I agree with you 100%. You have to be constantly happy and friendly, and that is not for me at all. I am not that girl. I get you. I can't do it.
Pink drink of death. Yes, the pink drink of death. So I guess that's really all I have on the NXIVM topic. I know Charlotte should be going live in probably 30 minutes or so.
Yes. Yep. So we were hoping that we would be wrapped up before Charlotte went live. So, we really appreciate everybody who came and hung out with us today. Stacy and I are non-committal. We don't stream on a regular basis. We don't know when we're going to go live. So we do it as needed, and we love you guys for being here with us when we are here. What else, Stacy? What am I missing?
Let's enjoy this last day before we all have to get back to work tomorrow. Let's go out and try to be nice to somebody at least once today, even if we don't think they deserve it.
Especially PJ.
Especially PJ.
Absolutely. Please be nice, spread kindness. Don't worry. Don't sweat the small stuff. Love you guys.
Don't cry over spilt milk. The milk will still be spilt, right?
That is right. Colts and things. Yes, without a jelly donut. That's right. We need merch. We need Colts and things merch.
We'll have to ask T Spear, see if we can copy her little idea about the and things part.
I know. So we appreciate you guys so much. We can't say it enough. You guys are awesome. Have a great day. We'll see you in the Discords, in Charlotte's chat, I'm sure. And
yeah, have a great day, everyone. I'm sorry. I think I cut you off. I thought you were done.
Oh no, nope, we're done.
Sorry.
An outro.
Okay. Bye, y'all.
Bye.